I was looking for a good large tablet at a good price, and I think I may have found it. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. Check this out. It's by Dragon Touch right there. And this is an Android tablet, and it's a big one. This is a 10-inch Android tablet. It's called the Max10 Plus. Plus-sized model. You know what I'm saying? Listen, this thing has some pretty awesome specs. It runs Android 10. It is 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of onboard storage. It also has a 1920 by 1200 DPI screen, so it should be pretty nice. And what I really wanted was just a big tablet so that I could read, have pictures, even flip some things up while I'm doing some live streams without doing a screen share. And I didn't want to spend $1,000 on a tablet, right? So I picked this up. Hopefully this will be the business. You can see it's very reflective, and it has a pretty small bezel all the way around, which is nice. It also has 2 cameras, the back camera and the front camera. The front camera here for selfies and web conferences and Zoom calls is 5 megapixel, and the back is an 8 megapixel camera with autofocus. See the Dragon Touch logo on there. We have a really nice case, and it's got a bead blasted look and obviously black. It's really cool. You can see here it's very thin. It's like pencil thin, and it's just got a nice round edge. Feels great in the hand. I think almost better than the iPad with those sharp edges. Now, if we take a little tour around the sides, what we have is a USB-C port right there, which is going to be nice for charging that bad boy up, and maybe even be compatible with some USB-C type accessories. And then on this side, it looks like we have a volume rocker, the power switch, and a 3.5mm headphone jack right there. So, pretty awesome. If we continue to go in the box here, show you that we get a charging block, and we get the USB-A to USB-C cord, a little instruction book here too. But since this is Android, my hope is that I should just be able to power the sucker on. Might have to charge it. Ooh, it's coming on right away. Dude, that's a beautiful looking screen. That is like true blacks on that bad boy. I mean, that looks great. It's going to be a little hard to see with all the reflection on the camera there, but dude, this is awesome. But I tell you what, this is going to be my companion on my next trip, I think. This is just so big. So, what I want to do here is go ahead and start setting everything up, and then I'm going to play around with it and then give you my final thoughts. Alright, so I have been playing with this Android tablet for a while, and I really love it. I'm going to show you here that the back here I think is plastic, but it actually has an aluminum-like look. And it's actually hard to tell when you tap it, but because of the weight, I think it is plastic because it's actually really easy on your hands over long periods of time. So I was using this for hours in bed, on the couch, holding my hand, and it never gets that heavy. Now, the other thing I want to show you is that I've taken this little cover off here in the back because despite this not having a lot of onboard storage, you do have plenty of space for expanding that with a little TF card slot there. There are also 2 SIM card slots there too. So I think you can hook this up to a wireless plan if you really want the ultimate in portable tablet functionality. So that is really cool. Now the other thing, and maybe I can get it to do it here, but if I flip it over and hit the power button, and you can see me in there, what up? Let's see. Boom. You saw it unlock there, and that's because it has facial recognition. So what I really like about this is that it is super easy to unlock, as easy as any of the other ones. Now, that might be a feature on a lot of Android devices these days, especially if you have a decent enough front camera, but it's actually really quick. It makes it so much easier than a fingerprint reader. It's been very reliable, and I really love it over having to enter a passcode, because especially when you install Google Play, you know that the security policies require it to have a passcode on there. All right. So I also want to show you that, as expected, it has an accelerometer built in. There is maybe just a little bit of lag on its responsiveness. I don't know if that's pretty typical of Android. It seems like the Apple devices maybe are a little quicker, but it does work just fine there. So I do like the fact that it rotates automatically, and maybe rotating a little slower just in case you just dip it. It means that it's not going to be sideways when you want it to be up and down or left and right, right? Now, the one thing that I really want to call out in this, and you can see the stock wallpaper on here, the screen on this little bad boy is amazing. So it is, one, huge, I think 10 inches here, but it is just incredible. In fact, I don't know if we would use the term retina display, but at 1920 pixels on the long edge, man, I just don't see any pixelation. It just looks great. I mean, if we really get in there, I mean, you be a judge. You would not be looking at it this closely, but it looks great. The colors are vibrant. They are absolutely outstanding in terms of representation. And one of the things that I have noticed here is that when you are on web pages or reading or watching video, you know, like this little Ed Bullion video here, or if I can go and find, so if I just go and find one of my favorite channels here, you know, the video is smooth, it is bright, it is clear, and that video looks great. And if I turn it sideways here, you know, it's just incredible. I mean, the colors are super bright. Everything about this is absolutely amazing. Now, one of the things that I want to do here is tell you that I think this is the orientation you are supposed to use this with. That puts the camera up there so it unlocks nicely, and then it also puts the controls here so the volume is in the right position. You can see here I can use the volume rockers and then the power button right there. And then if I flip up in the bottom, these two little things down here, which I thought were maybe connectors, are actually the speakers. Now, this is probably the weakest part of this tablet, is that the speakers are good. They get loud. They're always very clear, but they tend to be just a little bit tinny. So if I crank up the volume here, I'll see if I can show you. 1.25" nylon strap there, and hard-sided case. And so if you're going to just get the drone without any accessories, it's pretty nice, and the Skydio logo on there. So I held the speaker up to my microphone here just to give you a little representation of what the sound sounds like. It's been perfectly fine. I've consumed a ton of video on here. I've been using this as my little iPad screen off to the side, and so it's absolutely perfect for that. But if you really want that rich audio experience when watching a movie or consuming a favorite television show, then, you know, you might want to pair up some headphones or put in some earbuds or something like that, because the built-in speakers are adequate, but they're certainly not rich, and they certainly don't have a lot of bass to them, right? So that's probably my biggest gripe out of it, but it's actually a fairly small thing. Now, I do want to say here that the other thing I like is, as far as I can tell, this is like just an unskinned version of Android, so it's a nice, clean, unmolested version, so I don't really have to learn anything. It's really nice and simple. They haven't done something here to brand it and put a bunch of bloatware on it, and I really love that. I love the fact that if you know Android, which I'm not a huge Android user, but I can kind of muddle through it, but I love the fact that when they give you just a clean install of it, it's just easier than trying to figure out someone else's skin version, which they think is optimal. So it works right out of the box. It's nice and speedy, and if you know how to use the Google Play Store and download the apps and get those set up like this, I mean, I think it's going to be really, really simple for you. Now, the last thing I want to talk about here is the overall experience. So this is a very big tablet. It's comfortable in the hand. It's not super heavy. The construction seems very nice. It's easy to get up and running, but the screen is absolutely beautiful, and it's very large. So for showing pictures, for surfing the web, for responding to email, for consuming videos, this thing is phenomenal. And I would think at this price point, you know, $300 or $400 would be a good deal on something like this. But it is a fraction of that. This tablet, when I picked it up, was about $170. So for that, normally you would be looking at something like an 8-inch tablet. I mean, even an iPad mini starts around $300 or $400. So this thing, to me, represents just an amazing value. So if you're looking for a very large tablet with a lot of capability, where you can expand the memory, where you can consume videos, where you can travel with it and not necessarily have to break the bank for it, and not necessarily have to sweat it and babysit it because it's a really high-priced piece of equipment, I think this is the one for you. So if you want to pick up this Dragon Touch, I think it's a really great big tablet that's probably going to satisfy almost everyone's needs. I'll put a link to it in the description below. Peter Von Panda, out.